Ba-da, 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 ba-ba. It's the Super Not Funny Show. Do-do-do-boo-boo. Ah. Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags. Thank you for joining me for a new edition of the Super Not Funny Show. I am your host, Mo Thepuppet. Yes, that is French. Your resident Fabricant, talking all things pop culture. TV, movies, books, games, you name it. If it's pop culture-y, that's what we're going to cover on the show. This week on the show, we're going to look at everything coming up in the year of 2021 for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. After that, we're going to take a look at our weekly distractions. First, though, we're going to talk about the new threads. The new threads, all the news that you should be concerned about. Well, maybe not all of it, but some of it. All right, join us for this week's new threads. All right, let's take a look at what has bubbled up in the zeitgeist this week. First up, we're hearing reports that Brie Larson is to appear in Thor 4. Rumors, of course. These are just rumors. Haven't heard anything about her leaving the United States to go down to Australia. But sources are saying that Brie Larson is going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder, the fourth Thor film. If true, she joined the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy, already confirmed to be in the movie. If you've been paying attention, there have been reports of various members like Karen Gillan, Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista heading down under. It's cool that Marvel is letting Taika Waititi play with all the toys. No one deserves that more than him, trust me. And I think it indicates how much Disney is willing to invest in this movie. And I just say the more the merrier. Obviously, it's going to be cosmic. Captain Marvel is all about the cosmic. And she's the resident ass kicker, so hey, why not? The more the merrier, as I say. And I'm sure her interaction with Thor will be priceless. So, cool if that's true. Awesome if it's true. If it's not, oh well. But there's so many more people that are going to be in that movie. So, it'll all work out because I trust Taika Waititi. In an ongoing story, one that I'm sure all movie fans have been sort of annoyed with thanks to COVID, yet more release date shuffling. We, at this point, are we just, we're so used to hearing this. I'm surprised when something doesn't move, seriously. But we got some release date shuffling for the week, so let's talk about it. First off, a big move. Morbius is moving to January 21st of 2022. A year from now. So when it comes out, it's going to be more than a year and a half after it should have come out originally. Pretty much sucks if you were interested in that corner of the Spideyverse. James Bond 25, No Time to Die, delayed until October 8th, 2021. Not a huge surprise, honestly, with no vaccine out yet. Any time before May is kind of an idiotic time to put out any big blockbuster. So I would say don't even count on that, depending on how fast the vaccine gets out and how many people get inoculated, etc. So keep an eye on that. They really needed to be in theaters to recoup the money that's spent on it. A few others that I'm not so concerned about, but hey, it's on the list. Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, pushed to June 11th. Makes sense to me. That's probably when people would be mostly vaccinated, and it's a kid's movie, so it's likely to make decent money in where it is. No sense holding on to that one. Cinderella, don't know too much about it, but it's been moved to July 16th of 2021. Again, probably appeals to kids. Hopefully the vaccine's good then. I don't think they're going to move it too much further than that. Probably they'll end up sending it to streaming. Ghostbusters Afterlife, another one that I personally looking forward to, you know, the follow up. Well, I guess not follow up. Who knows if they even referenced the 2016 one, but that's now going to go on November 11th, 2021. Makes all the sense. It's around not Halloween, but it's around the Halloween time. But also, it's probably a time when the vaccine is going to be available. So, I imagine late fall is a great time to actually start getting things into the theater. Uncharted, a big Sony production, but Sony's being very cautious with their theatrical releases. So they are moving that also to next year, February 11th of 2022. Not hugely surprising. Again, they've been quite conservative with their theatrical release schedule. And honestly, they'll bump it if it still looks like it's not going to, if it's not going to be in a good position due to the pandemic. Unfortunately, another one that I'm really looking forward to, A Quiet Place 2, that's also been bumped yet again. It's going to 17th of September. I want to see it in the theater, so I can wait. Hopefully I can wait. We'll see. We'll see if it sticks that. Again, depends on the state of the pandemic at the time. And The Kingsman has been moved to August 20th. So again, these are all pushing back to pass when people think that the vaccine will be widely distributed. And we can only hope, because COVID has really ruined fucking movie going for me personally, for Jen personally, and I'm sure for many of you guys personally. So it would be awesome if we could get back to it. I'm tired of watching movies on my TV. Seriously. It's not the same. So I'm sure we'll be reporting on more of these, so stay tuned. We'll be talking about more things that are going to be moving. Now on to some streaming news. The streamers are hard at work. They're putting all this content out. And one project I've been particularly looking forward to is Robert Kirkman's Invincible, a teen superhero story that's, let me just say, pretty god dang violent, but also pretty god dang awesome. And it just released a sneak peek, and it is now set to release on Amazon Prime on March 26th with its first 3 episodes, and then weekly after that. I believe it's going through the end of April. So it is going to be a mature audience animated show. If you've ever read the comic, you'll know why. And it's supposed to fit in the same wheelhouse, I think, as maybe The Boys, but maybe not quite so sexually charged, maybe. The comic's really awesome, and the creator's really great. It's great material. It's got Steve Ewan is going to be playing the title character, and they've got a host of other really good voice talent. So I'm super excited about this. Can't wait. March is shaping up to be really, really great for superhero stuff. And in a little bit of Fabricant news, the great, the iconic, the GOATs, the Muppet Show, coming to Disney Plus, all 5 seasons, starting on February 19th. Oh man, my idols. Just, can't wait. Ghibli. Oh gosh, I'm so excited for this. You guys may not be excited for it. I'm super excited. Those are my idols. Fabricans extraordinaires. The trailblazers. They are, as I said, the GOATs. Just all of those. I cannot wait. I'm considering doing a reaction review series of the entire 5-season run of the Muppet Show. Just as a personal, you guys don't have to watch it. Just my personal, tribute to a great show that's really inspired this show. Well, I wish they would inspire more because you know, I feel like I could take some pointers for them. So either way, you guys check it out. February 19th, Disney Plus, The Muppet Show, and Disney Plus already hosts a lot of other Fabricant centric material in the way of the Muppets. So I encourage you to check it out. And finally, let's get ready to rumble! Woo, woo, woo! It's going down, guys. Godzilla vs. Kong trailer dropped on the weekend, and, well, I have a reaction. You can go check the video out. But the point is, it was awesome. Woo! So good. Huge pop in the internet fandom, in the community. Huge trailer, huge excitement. Even better, it's dropping in March on HBO Max and also in theaters. This Fabricant right here might actually brave the theater in order to go see this. It looks huge, looks smashing awesome. People are talking about Mecha Godzilla. Sure, at this point, they can make up the dumbest story. Just give me 2 hours of everything I saw in that trailer. I mean, obviously dole it out. I don't want to see them fighting for 2 straight hours, but you get what I'm saying. I'm ready. I'm just over the top excited about this, and I think a lot of you are too. You should be. If you're not, why aren't you? Go watch that trailer 17 more times. Hey, that's all. That's the only news. I just want to talk about how awesome that trailer was. So those are all of the new threads for this week, and I'm sure I missed some, and if I did and you think I should talk about it, hey, let me know. Shoot me an email, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com. You can tweet me at supernotfunnys1, or you can just leave a comment down below and I'll check it out, and we'll see if we'll cover that on the next go round. All right, that's it for new threads for this week. It is time for us to move on to our main segment, the MCU in 2021. All right, here we are in our main segment. This week we're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 2021. You know, 2020 sucked for many reasons. And one of the many reasons was the complete lack of output from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is something that we're used to getting at least 3-4 movies a year, and we got a whole lot of nothing last year. It wasn't their fault. Everyone was kind of kicking everything down because no theaters, no revenue, no good reason to throw a movie out into the deep end with all the sharks. But it's a new year, 2021. We're going to get back to normal this year with the return of the MCU. And actually, as of now, the MCU has officially returned with the debut of WandaVision. See also my reviews of the WandaVision TV show. But either way, they're definitely trying to make up for lost time, for all the lost time from last year when all of this stuff was supposed to start. We sort of got a good look at just how much stuff they have from the Disney investors presentation back in, I want to say, November or December. It was a huge presentation, showed a large, sprawling, and very ambitious program of both TV and movies, and they're all going to be intertwined and connected and so forth, the way we expect from the MCU. It's quite a lot of stuff, but we're just going to cover what they're going to be talking about, what they're going to be putting out this year. Just because it seems like a fun thing to do. We did that with Star Wars for the year, and it was a lot of fun for me, a lot of fun to just kind of speculate and look around. And I figure with the output of the MCU for this year, it's easy to do this. So Just at a glance, it looks like we're going to have a really good year. WandaVision started off strongly. So why don't we walk through what this whole year has in store for the MCU? First off, WandaVision, it premiered on January 15th on Disney Plus, the first TV show for the MCU, an actual TV show, not Agents of Shield, not Agent Carter, not any of that Inhumans, whatever. All Marvel TV isn't real, doesn't exist. Sorry for you guys, unless Kevin Feige is just feeling really magnanimous and just pulls them in. They're not real. Sorry, that sucks, but it's true. So the first real TV show is WandaVision. And it's already, as I said, released 3 of its 9 episodes, and it had a lot of fanfare and maybe a little bit of division, because honestly, it's a little hard to know what exactly they're getting at if you're just a casual fan. It's a mystery box, that show. It's a mystery box that is contained within classic American sitcom formula. And that's intriguing, but it's definitely a different take on the MCU than many fans were probably expecting. And you can tell it wasn't meant to be the first show out of the gate on Disney Plus, but COVID, thank you COVID for doing this to us. So here it is. It's the first one ready, instead of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What's most interesting, something to keep in mind, a reason if you're having a problem and maybe trying to check out of this show, is that it is supposed to be related to the next Spider-Man 3 coming out later, and the next Doctor Strange. The idea is that it's a mini trilogy, and there's probably reality shaping, warping, multiverse stuff. Who knows? No, they're keeping it real close to the vest, except they're, related. So we definitely want to keep an eye on this one and see the breadcrumbs that it's laying for a future storyline. Next up, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, premiering on March 19th on Disney Plus. The second, meant to be the first, but it's going to be the second Disney Plus Marvel TV venture. It was, delayed by COVID in its final weeks of shooting, so that's why we're getting it later than it should have been. And so its premiere should have been 6 months ago, but here we are. From the trailer, I would say, and you could probably agree with me, it seems to be a more traditional MCU type story, with all the normal fist fights and explosions, all that stuff. Falcon and Bucky quipping at each other, and there's high flying hijinks and all that fun stuff. We get some people coming back, like Zemo. There's talk of Yelena Belova cameo, aka Florence Pugh, aka probably the new MCU Black Widow, because ScarJo's character's dead. And we just have to presume it's going to lay groundwork for later movies and shows, like perhaps Hawkeye. It's going to be 6 1-hour episodes, so basically a bunch of mini movies. And we know there's going to be the introduction of maybe John Walker as the U.S. agent Captain America. There's a lot of good stuff to be expecting coming out of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I even read something about Anthony Mackie saying that at the end of it, the next Captain America is going to take up the shield. Who could it be? I wonder. I wonder who it could be. I guess we're going to have to wait to see, probably sometime in April. Next up, Black Widow, coming out on May 7th in theaters. As of now, seriously, probably going to get moved. But let's just say, for now, May 7th. And this is a movie that was meant to come out over a year ago. It was meant to be the first MCU movie after Spider-Man Far From Home, the first movie in Phase 4. It's a prequel. It happens before Infinity War. We see the I would imagine it's going to be the final appearance of Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. It's gonna be a spy thriller action movie, and bigger than that. It's an MCU spy thriller action movie, so of course they're gonna have ridiculous action set pieces that everyone should die in, but somehow they won't because it's the MCU. It's intended to introduce greater depth to Black Widow by looking at her background and where she was trained, and introducing new characters to the MCU, such as Yelena, who, again, is rumored to be the new Black Widow for the MCU. We also get the awesome Taskmaster, who right now is a mysterious figure, and I hope it remains that way, honestly. And we have a bunch of other Black Widows who have been trained by the Red Room, and I guess have been working in the shadows this whole time. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But it looks like a big actioner in the MCU fashion. Probably it's going to be in the same vein as Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I imagine this will get people back, onto the MCU train proper. And then on in May of 2021, we have Loki on Disney Plus. Loki, a limited series that follows the adventures of the alternate universe Loki, who escapes with the Tesseract after Tony and Steve botch the recovery of it in Endgame. Instead of getting away, he finds himself captured by the Time Variance Authority, and we assume he's recruited, but for what? It looks like a lot of time travel, alternate universe shenanigans. That is what the TVA is all about. Loki gets to go on his own adventure. No Thor required to steal all of his shine. And maybe for once we get to see him have to operate without knowing exactly what the hell is going on. Like Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's 6 episodes, basically six mini movies, if you will, and looks pretty great. Looks very weird and different. Maybe in the style of Taika Waititi, I don't know. Looking forward to it. Following Loki, we have ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings on July 9th, coming to theaters. This movie, I think, is going to be another one of those swerves or departures from the MCU formula. Or maybe it won't. I'm not really sure. I'm sure they have the action, but I see this as the MCU, just like with WandaVision, branching out into new kinds of genres that can be explored through the veil of superheroes. It's a film based on the Master of Kung Fu comic book from the 70s, which was created to take advantage of the popularity of Kung Fu movies. So again, lots of martial arts in this. This is going to be the first primarily Asian cast movie in the MCU, and it's going to, again, feature martial arts in the MCU. The Ten Rings that's mentioned in the title refers to the organization that we first saw in the Iron Man 1, and it kind of went through the Iron Man series. And the real Mandarin is supposed to be the leader of that organization, and ShangChi is, I'm going to assume, if they're going to go by the comic, is related to him. I would relate to him as in probably his dad, but we'll see how they play it. Beyond that, not a whole lot has been talked about. They've been keeping tight-lipped. Kevin Feige and his brain trust, those guys have been keeping spoilers to a minimum. So I'm guessing a lot about these things. But you expect a lot of martial arts and mystical action, and maybe think, Hero or House of Flying Daggers or Big Trouble in Little China, maybe. Who knows? They may be looking all over for that stuff. But either way, given that in the comics the Ten Rings are actual objects of power, there may be a lot of explosive, mystical, magical stuff going on. And we'll also see, you know, someone like ShangChi, who is supposed to be the greatest hand-to-hand fighter in the MCU. At least he is in the comics. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles fighting all these superpowered threats. They are wrap filming, so I expect we'll actually get this on time, assuming they don't bump things for COVID. Later on in the summer, we get the animated show What If on Disney Plus. An animated show, one of what I'd consider. Well, I say this. 1, 2, 3. Later on this summer, we get What If on Disney Plus. What If is an animated show, one of what I'd consider to be the biggest swings from the MCU this year, but also one which I think is probably necessary given that the MCU is now starting to lean into the multiverse. The show intends to give us alternate versions of the events and stories we've seen in the movie so far, kind of a remix or redux. Like the comics that inspired it, this is a show for those of us who love to speculate and ask questions. Like, hey, what if Chadwick Boseman, I'm sorry, not Chadwick Boseman, but T'Challa was Starlord? Or what if, Agent Carter, Peggy Carter, became Captain Britain instead of Steve Rogers? You say stuff like that. And it's a whole show of that stuff. It's all animated. I've seen a little bit of it. Looks pretty great. And it's in the can, so it's ready. I'm assuming that the animation is going to be mostly done or done by now. And most of the original actors reprise their roles in voice form, including Chadwick Boseman's final MCU appearance, again, as T'Challa the Starlord. Looks intriguing, looks interesting. Should be a fun little jaunt into the MCU. Next up is Hawkeye, coming in late 2021 on Disney Plus. Jeremy Renner returns as Clint Barton in the Hawkeye limited series, joined by co-star and MCU newcomer Hailee Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, the Young Avengers version of Hawkeye. Presumably, this is going to be a passing the torch sort of story that also lays the groundwork for the Young Avengers, which is a property that many people who are familiar with the Marvel MCU have been sort of asking for. Other than the cast, which is basically those two, and that is coming out, Marvel has been pretty tight-lipped about this whole project, and it's currently filming. We have seen some set photos before they ever confirmed Hailee Steinfeld as the co-lead. But beyond that, not too much else. We're assuming it's going to be drawing from most recent Hawkeye comics that I believe Matt Fraction was the writer on those, where the two Hawkeyes work together in kind of a mentor and mentee sort of situation. Beyond that, don't know too much more. I am aware of the Young Avengers because I followed in the comics, so pretty excited about this one, but not too much information. But we shall cover it later on this year as we get more information. And of course, like with WandaVision, we'll be doing reviews of the episodes. Also coming late 2021 to Disney Plus is Ms. Marvel. Now, this is one of my favorite announcements from that investor call a couple months back because it confirmed Kamala Khan is Ms. Marvel, at her entry into the MCU. This is a comic that I highly praise. I highly enjoyed, one of my favorite comic books I've read in the last decade. Just straight up one of the most enjoyable mainstream comic titles I think that has been put out. That we're getting it this year tells me how serious they are about getting Kamala Khan into the MCU, because they almost literally just confirmed her casting right before the investor call. So again, a couple months back. They are surely working hard on pre-production, and and they have probably, if they haven't completed it, they are damn near complete writing the scripts and everything. So it's really about getting people together later on, probably in the next couple months, for filming, with an anticipated maybe November, December release. We'll see. But if you don't know about Miss Marvel, it's based on a relatively new and very popular character. And she is the MCU, or she will be the MCU's first Muslim character, and another teen character, much like Peter Parker. And probably, I don't know how they're going to lean into this, but probably the first actual named human that's going to be in the MCU. So possibly they'll be using her to bring in humans properly into the MCU. Well, not much is known about the story, but the first volume or two of the comic probably is a good way or a place to start. It's got a very Peter Parker-esque portrayal of a superhero fangirl turning into a powered hero. And of note, something to keep in mind, if you want to know, hey, why should I check this out besides that it's an MCU thing? Well, Iman Vellani, who is playing Kamala Khan, has been confirmed to be in the Captain Marvel 2 cast. So there's that. Threads and connections. That's what this is all about. Coming in November, something, again, we should have gotten already, but, thanks you, COVID. I'm doing a lot of thanking of COVID, and I'm being very sarcastic about it. The Eternals, coming to theaters November 5th. This is another one of the big swings Marvel is making this year, and it's a double down on the cosmic epicness of the end of Phase 3. Featuring a big, diverse cast, and promising to tell a story that spans millennia. This is a story of godlike super beings who live among the people of the MCU, and they fight with their counterparts, the Deviants. Supposedly their link to Thanos is going to be mentioned, but beyond that, not too much is known, even though this thing has been filmed and wrapped, and it's probably in the can. So they're being very tight-lipped about it. I think some things are starting to leak, like what they're going to look like, product placement, all that stuff. You can't help it. This was a big movie. So beyond that, we don't know too much else about what the whole story is about. But can't wait to see. I guess if you want to check out relevant comics, just to give you a refresher, because no one really knows the Eternals. There's a run of Eternals by Jack Kirby, and Neil Gaiman also did a more recent take on them that was pretty interesting. And finally, thwip, 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 thwip. You know who that is. It's Spider-Man 3. Yeah. No title on it yet. Something, something, something home, I'm sure. Spider-Man 3 Home Alone. Spider-Man 3, or Spider-Man Home on the Range. Home Slice. Spider-Man Home Fries. I don't know. Something to do with home. Either way, this is going to be the follow-up to the explosive, especially at the end, Spider-Man Far From Home. And it's, again, supposed to be the second part of a multiverse trilogy, along with WandaVision and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This movie, we hope, ends 2021, at least for the MCU, with a bang. It promises to be the biggest Spidey movie yet, or a Spidey story. Actually, I'll say movie. Of all the Spidey movies, the biggest Spidey movie yet. With, it's been confirmed, Jamie Foxx returning as Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Alfred Molina from Spider-Man 2 as Doc Ock. They're ongoing rumors that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire will reprise their roles as Peter Parker, their version of Peter Parker. Maybe even Emma Stone. Who knows? This is turning into a huge, huge thing. Not to mention the fact that we've seen some set photos and they suggest something, I guess Peter is not on the run, but there's all sorts of ways they could have resolved that. We're going to see. It's all the way at the end of the year. They are still filming. But I do believe they filmed. I do believe they're working at a pretty breakneck pace. So I'm certain it's on. It is on schedule as it should be. Everything I think here is really kind of be on a tight schedule because they're juggling a lot of plates here. So let me see. Actually, let me pause. Let me see. Let's see. There's nothing official about the story just yet, but we can assume they'll cover Peter dealing with the fallout of Mysterio outing him and accusing him of murder, and J. Jonah Jameson and all that fun stuff. Should be a fun ride. Wherever, Spider-Man 3, Take Me Home. However that works out. All right, so that was the last MCU entry for the year of 2021. So I'm going to go ahead and just going to rank them by my most anticipated, least anticipated to most anticipated, which isn't to say I'm not looking forward to all of these. I really am. It's just, you got to rank them, so some of them are bigger pops to me than others are. So I'll start off with number 10. Well, I'll just go from 10 to number 1. Hawkeye, number 10. 9, What If. 8, Shang-Chi. 7, Loki. 6, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. 5, WandaVision. 4, Black Widow. 3, The Eternals. 2, Miss Marvel. And 1, of course, Spider-Man 3, because I got to know how they resolved all that crap at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. It looks like it's going to be a super busy year for the MCU. Kevin Feige gets no rest this year, or he gets all the rest because he trusts the people that he's working with. But not even mentioning all the pots that are simmering for next year's batch of shows and movies. The MCU is just cooking. It's moving along right now. So much going on. The MCU looks hella strong. Though I'd say that this year is really the test to see just how much of the MCU people actually want. They want more? Is there too much? Their saturation point that we're going to reach? We're going to find out this year. The question I think that Disney wants to answer is, will the MCU sell Disney Plus like they want it to? Will the Disney Plus shows confuse people who just want to watch the movies? Can they start building again like they did with the Infinity Saga? I personally hope so. I believe so. I believe in Feige. I believe in the entire team, the brain trust at Marvel, that they know what they're doing. They've proven to me for 23 movies so far. I trust them. So all I can say is this looks awesome. 2021 looks a little brighter thanks to the MCU. And I just say it's a hell of a time to be a comic book fan. Well, that has been the MCU in 2021. What do you think about that list? Did I miss anything? Do you have a comment? Do you agree, disagree? Hey, just drop me a line in the comments down below, or email supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, or on Twitter @supernotfunnys1. that all done, we're going to move on to this week's weekly distractions. And it's time for the weekly distractions. This is just a rundown of what's been distracting us here at the Super Not Funny Show. What have we been watching, reading, playing? It's all here in our weekly distractions. I'm going to break it down. Haven't really done any video game playing, so it's really just TV, movies, surprisingly some books. Been listening to audiobooks. Audible has been my friend. In fact, I listened to, probably for the 5th or 6th time, 2001: A Space Odyssey, because I'm just feeling in a spacey mood. Woo, real space. Listen to that. It's as good as I remember. I also listened to another Arthur C. Clarke book, Time's Eye, which has some similarities. I would say it's similar to 2001 and also similar to another book series I like, the 1632 Ring of Fire series by Eric Flint. Something like that. It's about people being displaced in time and space and having to come together. Pretty interesting stuff. Again, I think it's probably influenced by 1632. Watch some movies. Yeah, watch some movies this week. Watched Dune 1984. And I feel like I should do a review of this, even though it's old as hell, but still, I had never actually properly watched it. I'd seen bits of it. It looked cheesy and stupid. But I'm going to tell you what, I liked the hell out of that movie. That movie was good. I know Dune pretty well. I've read Dune through probably like 4 or 5 times at this point. So I like the hell out of Dune. And let me say, considering the limitations, and it's a 2-hour movie, 2-hour and 20-minute movie or something like that, they did a pretty damn good job on that. David Lynch, it's good stuff. I don't see why people shit on it. It's good. Also watched an old, rather ridiculous horror movie called The Car, about some possessed car killing people. It's like if Jaws were a stupid car, Also watched Lupin the Third, The Castle of Cagliostro, which is probably, if you're an American, if you've ever watched the Lupin the Third anime, that's probably the one you saw. It was when I, back in the day, used to see it in the video store all the time. And again, I've seen it before. It's really good. But I showed it to Jen for the first. She had never seen it. Showed it to Jen. It's a fun little anime, and really kind of makes me want to go and watch some actual Lupin the Third TV. So I might actually dive into that. I'm considering it. I got a full plate right now, but I might make some room for it. On the TV front, been watching a lot of TV lately. Checked out a little bit of Star Trek Enterprise, just because, just had some free time. It's fun. Finally saw what I would consider the best episode of the first season, even though I'm only like 5 episodes in. But the 5th episode is really good. It really made me sit up. Binged all of Netflix's new French heist thriller show called Lupin, which was really awesome. It's actually really good. I only hated how short it was because it didn't quite finish off its main storyline. Cliffhung it, whatever, for the next season. That kind of sucked, but beyond that, it was really good. Enjoyed it. Also been watching on CBS All Access, or Paramount Plus, I guess, are going to be in a couple weeks. The State, which is a sketch comedy show from the early 90s that showed on MTV. If you like Reno 911, a lot of the people that worked on that worked on The State. It's a fun, ridiculous, silly ass, Gen X 20-somethings Monty Python silliness. It's fun. It's pretty funny. I like it a lot. And finally, started off on a new series on Peacock. It's Mr. Mercedes, based on the Stephen King books, about a serial killer that kills a bunch of people with a Mercedes-Benz and the guy trying to catch him. It's fine. It's slow burn. It's really pacing the pacing's bad. That's if I'd say anything. Other than that, it's fairly enjoyable, and I know the story, so maybe I'm giving it a lot of slack. But I'm really hoping that it picks up. It'll be a lot more interesting than it is, because it's got 2 seasons and it's got a 3rd season coming. So I really want it to be better. We'll see. I'm trying to make it to the end of that season. But that's been all of the weekly distractions for me this week, and I'm sure I'll have a ton of other things to talk about next week. But what is distracting you? Why don't you let me know down in the comments, or shoot me an email, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, or on Twitter at supernotfunnys1. Let me know what's distracting you from this horrid pandemic wasteland. We need more distractions. All right, that's the weekly distractions for this week. So we've reached the end of the show. It's the end of the show as we know it. It's the end of the show as we know it. Woo, woo, woo. That's the show for the week. Thank you, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, for joining me on this magical carpet ride through pop culture. I hope you enjoyed what we had to offer today. Maybe gave you something to think about, something to anticipate, something to ponder. You know, we like to hear from you because we want to improve the show, make it more fun and more interesting, cover things you guys want to check out, in addition to what we want to check out. So, as always, I know I keep spamming it verbally. I'm going to spam it here up top. But check us out on Twitter at supernotfunnys1. You can also send an email, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com. You can always send a comment. We love to read the comments. Let us know what you think about this show, how we can improve, what you want us to cover, any of that stuff. Just, hey, maybe you just want to tell us that we suck and we should get off the air. I guess if you want to be that guy, you can do that. We'll take that too, and probably block you, but you can do it. But either way, we do appreciate that you spent some time here with us today, and we will be back next week with more fun topics and more news, more weekly distractions. In the meantime, you guys keep safe out there, keep it real, and we'll catch you on the other side of the thread. Peace.